Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? This is your host, Dr. Maitri Javeri from Department of Computer Science, Gujarat University. Many of us are aware about the saying that everything comes to us that belongs to us. But Rabindranath Tagore ji enhances this line and says, everything comes to us that belongs to us if we create the capacity to receive it. Welcome to the national webinar on personal capacity building organized by Women Development Cell and Internal Complaint Committee, Gujarat University, in association with National Commission for Women, New Delhi. I request you all to rise for University Song.
वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन गुजरात यूनिवर्सिटी आपणी गुजरात यूनिवर्सिटी आपणी विद्यातणु तपोवन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन
राष्ट्र चेतना कला साधना खेल भावना विकसे
विश्व मानवी बनी गुजराती विश्व सकल માં વિલસે સ્નેહ સંપ સહકારની સાથે દેતી તું સન્મતિ સૌના સાથને સંગાથે સૌ સિદ્ધ કરે ઉન્નતિ પ્રેમ બંધુતા સમાનતાના પલ પલ પ્રસરે સ્પંદન વંદન અભિનંદન વંદન અભિનંદન वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन वंदन अभिनंदन
Thank you. Respected patron of the webinar, the Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir of Gujarat University, Professor Dr. Himanshu Pandya Sir. Our guests of honor, respected Pro Vice Chancellor Sir, Dr. Jagdish Bhavsar, and respected Registrar Sir, Dr. Piyush Patel. Distinguished invited speaker, Ms. Sonia Parekh, Managing Director, Confidence Academy, Professor Dr. Archana Makad, Chairperson, Women Development Cell, Professor and Head of the Department of Botany, Bioinformatics and Climate Change Impacts Management, Professor Dr. Bharti Pathak, Chairperson, Internal Complaint Committee and Director, School of Commerce, Gujarat University, Professor Dr. Jyoti Parikh, Member Secretary, Women Development Cell and Internal Complaint Committee, Professor and Head of the Department, Computer Science, my fellow faculty members and dear students, Suswagatam. आज का दिन मंगलवार गणेश जी, दुर्गा माता, काली माता और हनुमान दादा का दिन है। आइए साथ मिलकर दुर्गा माता की स्तुति के साथ वेबिनार की शुरुआत करें। सर्व मंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते। धन्यवाद। It is said that nothing gets transformed in your life until your mind is transformed. And to transform and strengthen our mind, we have with us today Ms. Sonia Parikh, Managing Director, Sonia's Confidence English Academy. She is an examination director at Indian Institute of Fitness and Sports Management. She is director at Trinity EduTech Private Limited, an initiative in the field of corporate training and grooming business communication skills. She is a Cambridge certified presenter and a training professional. She is a certified IELTS, TOEFL, PTE trainer and also conducts student and teacher support programs for the entire range of Cambridge ESOL exams. She is certified as a retail trainer for the Professional Retailing Skills Program from RAI, that is Retailers Association of India, Mumbai, and Quest SFA, that is Skills for Adolescents Program. She is also a cognitive behavior therapy practitioner. She has been awarded the All India High Achiever Award for Certificate of Academic English by University of Cambridge. Sonia ma'am is the co-founder and trustee of Pearl Special Needs Foundation, which caters dedicatedly to the academic and vocational skill development of individuals with special needs, leading them towards the vision of an inclusive society. Sonia Madam's input as a mentor, philosopher, and guide have had a positive impact on the pursuit of each of her trainees. I request Dr. Archana Makad ma'am for a formal welcome.
Thank you, Maitri. Good afternoon. I, along with my team, Chairperson ICC Professor Bharti Pathak and Member Secretary WDC and ICC Professor Jyoti Parikh, welcome you all here for the national webinar on personal capacity building. WDC and ICC is committed to addressing relevant issues by way of invited lectures and workshops throughout the year. It's our proud privilege to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Himanshu Pandya, who is an embodiment of courage and perseverance and has also been the guiding force for students and staff alike. We welcome our Pro Vice Chancellor Dr. Jagdish Bhavsar, who has always encouraged us in all our endeavors. We also welcome our Registrar Sir Dr. P.M. Patel, who has always provided timely support. I welcome our distinguished speaker, Ms. Sonia Parikh from Confidence Academy. A series of 3 webinars is being organized under the guidance of National Commission for Women, New Delhi. This is the first webinar in that series. The objective of this session on personal capacity building is to make the learners engage in effective communication by respecting diversity and embracing good listening skills. Practice brainstorming, group discussion, learn effective time management skills, and thereby avoiding unwarranted stress. I once again welcome our distinguished speaker, Ms. Sonia Parikh, and all the participants. We look forward to a great learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have with us today our Registrar Sir, who believes that your success is your responsibility. Take the initiative, do the work, and persist to the end. May I request our Registrar Sir to please bestow his blessings.
નમસ્કાર. આજના પ્રોગ્રામને અત્રે ઉપસ્થિત રિસ્પેક્ટેડ મેડમ અર્ચના મેડમ, રિસ્પેક્ટેડ જ્યોતિ મેડમ, રિસ્પેક્ટેડ ભારતી મેડમ, and efficiently performed Madam Maitri Madam, along with the team of GU, WDC and ICC. Our today's speaker, who is going to speak on capacity building. એટલે જે ખૂબ એક આજના સમય અને પહેલાના સમયમાં પણ ખૂબ જ જરૂરી વસ્તુ કે we don't know how much our capacity is. આમ તો થોડા જૂજ દિવસો પછી સ્વામી વિવેકાનંદજીની જયંતિ આવે છે અને જે કે ઉઠો જાગો અને ધ્યેય પ્રાપ્તિ સુધી મંડ્યા રહો. આમ આપણી જે કહેવાય કે પ્રાઇમરી સ્કૂલથી માંડી અને ત્યાં સુધી આપણને શીખવવામાં આવે છે અને એ કેપેસિટી બિલ્ડિંગ થ્રુ ડિફરન્ટ વેઝ. One of that way is parents, another way is teacher, then your boss, I mean your head. Today with us we have our due honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Dr. Jagdish Bhavsar sir, and in overall looking after head of the GU, honorable Dr. Himanshu Pandya sir. So in that, the knowledge and the attitude and everything what we understand up to today is it is transformed from top to on the down towards. It may be from parents to the children, or from head to the employee, and such like that. Along with that, we say that this is a world of competition and a world of challenge. So this type of seminars definitely help us as an add-on therapy. What you in pharmacy we say it is an add-on therapy, that it will boost our capacity if we learn it, if we listen it, and when especially the speaker like Sonia madam. So as a GU is as we all know that it is a top most university as a in Gujarat, and also a well-ranked university in the India. And we understand that our employee, our students must have a good capacity. So in the future, they might go up to the Nobels also. So that is what our almost vision, and definitely I may congratulate the team of WDC ICC along with the respected madams, that such type of seminars will give you the results after some years, but it will definitely give the results. So once again, I congratulate to arrange such a seminar and invite me. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such wonderful words. Thank you very much. We have with us today Dr. Jagdish Bhavsa, sir, our Pro Vice Chancellor, sir, who is an individual who finds the strength to preserve and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. Under his leadership and our VC sir's leadership, our university has thrived into education, culture, values, ethics, technologies, research startups, and many more. May I request our Pro Vice Chancellor, sir, to please bestow his blessings.
बोलना है मुझे?
यस सर, आपके शब्द जरूरी हैं सर.
अब रजिस्ट्रार बोले तो चलेगा नहीं?
सर थोड़ी सी बात सर.
सम्मानीय रजिस्ट्रार श्री, WDC ICC के चेयरपर्सन डॉक्टर भारती पाठक, अर्चना माकर, मेंबर सेक्रेटरी ज्योति पारिक, उद्घोषक मैत्री, और आज के विषय की वक्ता सोनिया पारिक. जैसे रजिस्ट्रार जी ने बताया कि कल स्वामी विवेकानंद जी का जन्मदिन है. स्वामी विवेकानंद जी ने अपने पूरे जीवन के दौरान यही संदेश दिया है कि कार्य करते रहो, देश के हित में, स्वयं के हित के, अपने कुटुंब के हित के, यानी कार्य पर बल दिया है उन्होंने. और कोई भी काम हमें सफलता से करना है तो वो काम के पीछे हमको पूरा समय देना होता है. आज जो विषय रखा है तो विषय के वक्ता का मैंने परिचय सुना, कितने क्षेत्र में वो काम कर रही है. तो आज के ये नेशनल वेबिनार के जरिए उनका मार्गदर्शन जो आपको प्राप्त होगा, वो मार्गदर्शन आपके जीवन के अंदर भी कुछ अच्छे संकल्प करने में सहायभूत होगा. जैसे एक गीत की पंक्ति है, धरती की शान तू है प्रभु की संतान, तेरी मुट्ठियों में बंद तूफान है, मनुष्य तू बड़ा महान है. यानी मनुष्य के अंदर पावर हाउस के जितनी शक्ति पड़ी है, वो शक्ति को हमें समझना है, उसका साक्षात्कार करना है. आज का इस वेबिनार, जैसे रजिस्ट्रार जी ने बताया, कि एक भविष्य के सफल लोगों की नींव रखेगा. और WDC ICC जो प्रयास सतत साल भर कर रही है वो कतई धन्यवाद के पात्र है। उनके प्रयास और सफल रहे। मुझे ऐसे तो सुनना ही था, लेकिन 2 वर्ड्स देने का उद्घोषक ने किया, इसलिए मैंने आप सबके सामने 2 बात रखी है। पुनः इस वेबिनार की सफलता की कामना करता हूँ और वक्ता और श्रोता के बीच ज्यादा समय नहीं लेते हुए मेरी बात यहाँ समाप्त करता हूँ। वंदे मातरम, भारत माता।
થેન્ક યુ સર. તમને સાંભળવો સર કાયમ એક લાવો છે જ, એટલે તમને તો અમે બોલ્યા વગર નહીં જવા દઈએ સર. થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ. As it is rightly said, અને સર ઓલ્સો મેન્શન્ડ that માણસની અંદરની કેપેસિટી એને ઓળખવાની જરૂર છે અને કેપેસિટીને બહાર લાવવી બહુ જરૂરી છે. સો આઈ રિક્વેસ્ટ સોનિયા મેડમ ટુ પ્લીઝ કમ ફોરવર્ડ એન્ડ deliver the lecture.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Maitri ma'am, thank you so much. And I would really like to thank uh, Himanshu Bhai, first of all, though he's not present here, but thanks to him for conducting and having this beautiful initiative and pushing all of us to give our best. Thank you, Dr. Jagdish Bhai Bhavsar, Dr. Piyush Patel, uh, Dr. Bharti Ben Pathak, Dr. Jyoti Ben Parikh, of course, Dr. Archana Makad, who's been, always been in touch, and she's the first one who says, "Ma'am, aa karvanu chhe, etle pachi that's it." So I really, really thank you so much for letting me be a part of this beautiful initiative. And last but not the least, Dr. Maitri Javeri for being a wonderful host as usual. And we love to hear your voice, ma'am, on the show. Thank you so much, ma'am. Today's topic, personal capacity building. It's a huge topic. And like Dr. Piyush Patel rightly said, this is just a beginning and a tip of the ocean. And as we start into this session, I endeavor to do my little bit to hold the hands of all the listeners and take you a few steps into the understanding of the capacity building process, and will help you to highlight some of the steps that we can take. This is a very vast topic, like I said, and I think every aspect that we cover can again be taken up individually, and I hope this entire talk really helps all of us, all of the listeners. In case we have any questions, Ashra ma'am, you're always there, so you can definitely guide up for any questions we have, and I would definitely be open to that. Yes. So shall we start, ma'am?
Yeah, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Sonia Parikh, and I thank you for being here, and I think we can start. Next, please. Yeah. So, of course, the first term that we have is, what is personal capacity building? When we talk of capacity building, it's a very huge term used from schools. Like we said, we use it for students during the school age. We also use it for the trainees who are just right on the verge of beginning their career. And then we have all sorts of organizations, whether it is NGOs, whether it is huge corporates, whether it is retail marketing. Every field that we look into talks about capacity building. But what is the exact meaning of capacity building? And what do we have as individuals to learn from that? Can we do it, or is it just an organization that has the responsibility? Well, all right. Well, like Piyush Bhai rightly said, we don't even know what our capacities are. And I'll just take you into a little story before we start. And you all heard of the humble bumblebee. The bumblebee if you observe the structure, the way the bumblebee is built with the, I'm sure all of you know what the black bee that is there, right? Now, if you go to, if you listen to the principles of aviation, or if for flying, or even physically the way it is structured, it is not. So scientists, when they do the research, they found that this insect cannot fly. It is not supposed to fly. It's not built in a way, it's not designed in a way biologically that it can fly. However, as science and as history and as life shows, the bumblebee merrily flies from flower to flower and enjoying its life. I think the only reason is that the bumblebee does not know that it doesn't have the capacity. It just does. It just flies, trusting in itself. It does not need anybody's validation. It just needs itself, and maybe it just works in a direction. And that is, I think, a very core idea of capacity building. We generally depend a lot on what people say, what theories say, what research says, what speakers say about what is a trend, how should I work on it. Yes, we do need hand holding. We may take support, but ultimately it is about strengthening your own self. And I think it is more of an intrapersonal skill. It is looking into yourself and working on each aspect of your personality, doing your strength and weakness analysis, and finally working strongly, consistently in the direction of your goal and strengthening yourself. And that is the basic and the simplest definition of capacity building that we can come up with. So that takes us to the next slide. Well, capacity building consists, if we broadly define it, it consists of it is built on three main pillars. The first that I would say is change. Oh my God. Is change really a part of capacity building? Yes, it is. It's the most universal thing, the most supposed to be. So there is a saying that says, nothing in the world is as constant as change. And yet, we all fear change. So if we have to really work on building our capacity, or if we have to really work on strengthening ourselves for the future, the first thing we need to consider is change. And we'll go ahead and see how we can handle and tackle change. The second most important pillar is composure. A word very lightly used, generally used in personality development sessions. When I talk of composure, I don't talk of only your physical composure. I talk of your mental, emotional, and physical composure. It talks of a calmness that you carry with you all the time. And trust me, this composure, this calm is not really so far away as it is shown. हम जब सुनते हैं, बड़े बड़े ज्ञानी जब हमें कहते हैं, संत साधु जब हमारे से बात करते हैं, they talk of meditation and reaching the state of Zen. Well, frankly, the state of Zen is not all that difficult to reach. It is a skill that can be learned. It is just working on yourself consistently, like I said, over a period of time, understanding and knowing yourself. As we go through this session, I will also help you to understand what brings us to the calm and the composed mind and body. The third and the most widely discussed, and I think one of the most widely focused on pillar of capacity building is communication. Undeniably, this pillar is the most important, not only because it is about talking or communicating externally, it is not about just sending energy externally, but also within ourselves. So when we talk of community today, in today's world, no one works solo. Anybody who works, anybody in the field to survive, man is a social animal. And today's times prove that more than anything else. There is no field where a person can just work or survive like an island. To survive, to grow, to achieve your dreams, you will always need to spread your network, to grow, to connect with people, to build relationships. So, the first step is, of course, communication within yourself, and the second is communication with every person around you. Again, a method that needs to be imbibed. It's a learning process. Surprisingly, we start learning at the age of 3, and then we just start, or maybe sometimes 1.5 or 2, I'm sure, yes. And then we just keep on speaking. It's perhaps as we grow that we realize the value not of speaking, but of selective speaking. Understanding that the words have so much power that they can build or destroy everything. And hence, yes, communication is one of the strongest focused pillar of capacity building. Let us take you through the first pillar, and that is understand. Sorry, that's understanding change. Let's take up change. Can we have the slide, please? You can do it from here also. No. Okay. Uh, a live example. I'm a live example of change, really trying to anticipate and accept and working towards it. Why I said that is, um, we are from a generation which thrived and prided ourselves on, not depending on technology. And we used to pride ourselves at one point in saying, I'm not techno savvy. I like doing things on my own, not in person. Well, today I think for me, and I think for I think most of the dignitaries that I meet, I salute them because they are so much up to date with the information and technology, and students with, when I talk to all of you, the generation that preceded you, your parents, your teachers, your mentors, all of us to a certain extent were a part of this flow or thought process where we prided ourselves. Well, COVID came and here we are. I think much before COVID, it was anticipated that yes, we have to gear ourselves for change, but here we are. It was COVID which actually pushed us down the cliff and we learned to fly. So, how do you anticipate change? How do you accept change? Is it such an easy task? Is it so easy to say it? Well, easy or not, I think this is the core truth of today. Change is the only constant, and with the world, with technology, with the world becoming more like a global village, things moving so fast. There is so it is the flow of growth, the flow towards change which earlier came at a slower pace is now so fast and so dynamic that we have no option but to anticipate it, to prepare ourselves for that. A beautiful saying that says, yes, we worked on that and we have changed, so we have improved. But well, right, like it is rightly said, To improve is to change. Yeah. But to be perfect, you have to consistently keep up with this. And for the young generation, I think this is where you have an up on us. You have an edge on all of us. You have an edge in life. So how do you anticipate change? I mean, you just think and say, okay, things are going to change. किस तरह से करेंगे? बस let's go ahead and do it. Is that how you do it? Well, I'm sure there are a lot of inputs that we can get. So let us see where we can get the inputs to anticipate, understand whatever topic you're working on, whether it is your career, whether it is the social relationships that we are adhering to, whether it is at whatever stage in life it is, whatever your core priority is. What is the new development in it? What are the new things? What are the new thought processes that are happening on it? So let us understand, how do we anticipate? Next slide, please. Well, so I have the slide open for you. The first thing is, yes, information is the king. This is the time when information, data is that one power that is going to help us rule the world. The person who has information is the one who's going to rule the world, they say today. So yes, collect information from whatever sources you require. If I'm going to work on, for example, if you are in a career, and most of you would be probably in your final years, do not wait till the final year and do not wait till you graduate to, to decide what you want to do. Probably by the time when you join the courses that you are into now, and 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line, when you're out of it, things have changed. The world scenario has changed. The plans that you made 5 years back, the plans and the dreams that your parents had for you, that you had dreamt for yourself, somehow they don't seem so glamorous anymore. So how do you keep up with that? Well, read. You have the world on your fingertips. You have the mobile that's on your fingertips. Research. Network with people who are in the group, in this field. Network with people who are on the causes, on the pointers, on the levels of career where you are standing, and interact with people. So either network, research through different media platforms, get as much information as you can. Along with that, yes, so reading is becoming extinct. As long as it is on the phone, I think that's the only thing that we go for. But do remember that I do not personally say that don't go for reading on the social media, but other than that, don't just follow that. Meet people, read proper literature on the relevant materials. Stay up to date with things that are going around you. Two very, very crucial ideas. Have alternate plans. When we plan, we just have one plan. This is how we were taught, Have a goal, focus on it fully, and that's it. Today, the world has changed. Focus on it. Give every goal that you set up for yourself, give it your full goal. But at the same time, think about a plan B. Have an alternate plan. Have a plan in case there is a diversion. If there is something that does not go well with your plans, do you have a fallback system? Build it. I know that a lot of people generally disagree with that. So when we have discussions in our group, we have people who disagree and say, no. If you have a second plan, that's it. If you have a second plan, you are not going to give your full or your most to it. I think it's a question of your perspective. I think it's about talking to your mind. If you do not have an alternate plan B, anticipating change and you don't anticipate change, accepting that change might be very difficult. I'm not asking you to lose your focus. I'm just asking you to have a plan or a support system that is ready to hold you in case. Improvise, of course, on yourself. And last but not the least, in fact, the most important thing, out of all these 6 points where you collect information, I think the most important is when you anticipate change, you do not, as you go and build towards your timeline, as you build towards your goal, that the timeline, there are pauses in your timeline which help you to create a diversion. So, just in case at any point of time you feel you are not going in the right direction, which does happen, as I interact with so many students now on different platforms for their education, many of them are in their master courses. I come across students who were, I think it's the present generation, you have the luxury of deciding whether you want to go ahead with what you had planned or you want to step back, think, explore, and maybe take a new path. So that's what I mean by a timeline. Build a timeline. Initially, when you plan going towards your goal, think about how you're going to go. What are you going to achieve in the maybe in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, and that is called the micro planning that goes with that. But at the same time, do understand that these timelines are short periods of time that you club together. I have a 10-year plan to achieve my dream. Okay, this 10-year plan is we break up this plan into a yearly plan, or maybe the first 3 years, which consist of my first bachelor's education, then you have your master's education for 2 years. After that, 5 years, you have 5 years of exploring your career and working the right direction. These three parts, these three major parts, would also give you an opportunity to in case of anything that goes wrong, it gives you a leeway, it gives you an opening to explore. I have sometimes students asking me, ma'am, isn't it too late? I've done my 5 years of study. They go for what is it called, the combined course, or the um, a 5-year integrated course. And at the end of 5 years, in the fourth year, suddenly there's maybe I'm not built for this. Well, that's okay. I think the idea of anticipating change and accepting change, which is in the next slide, is is you can always start wherever you are. And I think that's the beauty of accepting change. Can you take the next slide, please? Sagarvi, can we take the next slide, please? Thank you so much. No, the one before that. Okay, so always a stress. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I think I missed the slide. All right. So, can we go back, please, Sagarvi? Thank you. So, as we anticipate change, one very, very, very important part, after we do all this planning, after we build our timelines, after we have our alternate plans B, we have all the information, we have readied ourselves, we have all the ammunition to go for our goals. COVID happens, or something like that. We need to remember that everything is not in our hands. In fact, there is a beautiful saying that says, I'll give it to my daughter because she was the one who said this. She says that it's not about controlling the change, but more so about being prepared for it. So, yes, we anticipate change, we prepare for it. How do you prepare for change? Well, that is where we have the acceptance that there are things which are not in your control. So we cannot control it. There are things that will just move out of your hands. So at that point of time, accepting change, which is, trust me, very difficult. And that is the time when we go to the next pillar. Can we go to the next pillar now, Sagarbai? Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you so much. That brings us to the next slide, and that is, we anticipated change. God, I had no option but to accept change. But now what? So that's the time when we talk of very likely things to happen: stress, emotional upheavals, drowning in the entire event that has happened, and just losing it. So, like it is rightly said, one, we learn how to manage. So these are the components that we start building upon. As I was talking today to one of my colleagues, she came with a very different problem. And she was like, she was talking of a student of hers who has been a gold medalist studying probably in one of the best IITs in India. And 3 years down the line, deciding to give up everything with the idea that he cannot cope up with it. What happened? What went wrong? This was a child with a golden spoon, a student who had it all. What went wrong? Well, I think the one thing that went wrong was what the world till now has considered as success. You know, success in all your endeavors, from probably junior KG till all the steps of studies that the child has gone through. The child has always been an excellent achiever. This is supposed to be good, right? What went wrong? Well, what went wrong was that at one point of time, things were not in control because there was a lot of external factors happening, and somehow this child was not able to score well in one exam set. Mind you, this child has been an amazing performer. But this one setback is what the child could not handle. At this point of time, it makes us think it is better to have to put ourselves in situations which are not always easy, or which are always, you know, can be achieved in a in a snap. I think what we also need to put our children through, what we need to put ourselves through, is situations where there is a chance of failure, where you may succeed, something that is bigger than us, something that is more challenging. Because at that point of time, even failure is something that we all need to taste at one point of time. Because every time that we have a setback, be it emotional, be it into your studies, be it into your social systems, be it into your health, wherever you have a setback, wherever you have a setback, you will always have, wherever you have a setback, you will always learn how to jump back. That resilience is a very, very, very important aspect of surviving in a world. So, composure and calmness comes through understanding the skills of managing your stress, regulating your emotions, being calm and being able to clearly see through situations. And thirdly, building your resilience muscles. When I say stress management, we take a 2 minute idea on this. I know we will not be able to cover this in deep, but yes, when we talk of stress management, we talk of different ways where you can manage stress. List down the activities that help you get relieved. For example, it could be the company of your friends, it could be a hobby that you pursue, it could be meditation, it could be uh, it could be plain not doing anything, inactivity. We always consider inactivity to be a useless spend of time, a waste of time, but inactivity can also lead to our productivity. That is the time when the brain is able to rejuvenate. So either of these four, pick a one that helps you. For a lot of people, when they have a lot of physical exercise, that also helps them. So whether it is physical exercise that you take, whether it is meditation that you go for, whether it is spending time with your friends, family, whether it is pursuing your hobby, or like I said, taking up just plain inactivity. Any of this helps you to clear your brain, take a break from all the building up of the uncertainty, the indecisiveness that happens around us when we are in a new situation. And at that point of time, these any of these five things help us to become stronger. Now, stress management happens at a particular point. It happens at the end of the tether. Happens when you are faced with a situation. But let us look at the other 2 points that lead to your composure. One, emotional regulation. What is this word? I thought this was related to psychiatry or psychology. Well, not actually. When I talk of emotional regulation, I think it is a day to day practice that needs to be included in our life. When we talk of meditation, we detach ourselves from our emotions, our thoughts. When I talk of emotional regulation, we talk of one, observing our emotions and helping the child within us that is going through these upheavals. It could be sadness, it could be too much happiness, it could be despair, it could be hurt, it could be pain, all these. It could be the excitement of having super success at one point and then the falling down. So all these, we are all human beings. As human beings, we are bound to have emotions. And like Krishna has said, you have to have a tatast जीवन जैसे कहते हैं, यानी कि at one point of time our emotion should be within one range. If constantly our emotions are going too much up and down because of the events or external events that are happening around us, it's a time to stand up and see. It's time to step back and observe what is happening with us. So, regulating your emotions talks of looking back into your emotions and understanding your emotions, bringing them back to the center, finding the center always within yourself. Most of the time, emotional regulation can happen by again detaching from a situation and giving time to yourself, observing your feelings, applying and understanding your feelings. The third, and again, a skill that we have realized the importance. Lot has been spoken about resilience when we talk of the physical well-being in the last 2 years. Uh, we call it the resilience muscle building. And when we talk of the resilience muscle building, we talk of being able to, what is resilience? So it is basically being able to understand, to jump back, getting back into the show after you have a fallout. Come what may, we always have the capacity to jump back. And this can happen, these muscles, what when they call resilience building. So building resilience happens slowly over a period of time. So build resilience by again understanding situations and an undying optimism towards, things are not in your hand and you have to do the best you can. So it's okay to fall back. There are times when, because some change happened that was unanticipated, it was sudden, it was uncertain, it just came out of the blue. Well, it is bound to create stress. We're all human beings. It is bound to create emotions going haywire. It is bound to you feeling very upset, feeling defeated, feeling lost. It is okay to feel all these. But at the same time, it is not okay to be down. It's okay to fall down, but you are not allowed to stay down. And that is what we mean by building your resilience. In my personal opinion, what helps most when we talk of resilience building is something that is perhaps a little outdated, is a spiritual anchor. We all do believe, most of us do believe that there is a force that makes the whole thing, the whole universe and our lives and every little thing go around. But many of us are a little hesitant to attach it to religion. So let it not be religion, but a spiritual center, an emotional anchor. These two things are what help you to, even when you're down, to help you to rise up. So it is okay to be down. The first part is accepting that when there is change, there is going to be stress, there is going to be a lot of upheavals in life. COVID has not been kind, and I give the example of COVID because COVID has actually helped us sit up and realize that, oh my God, what happened to all my plans? We've had parents and children who had planned for, their whole life on paper. And then suddenly everything just goes haywire. And that is why I just take this opportunity. And I think this is the right time when we talk of how important it is to build a composure and how important it is to have, it as a component of the the personal development or the personal stability that you have. Let's go to the next part. So the first was change, accepting, anticipating, accepting. Second was, if it is unacceptable at first, it is absolutely okay. How do you take yourself to composing yourself, to calming yourself, and mastering the three arts of stress management, emotional regulation, and a consistent exercises in resilience building. Build your networks, build your social circle. We need people around us. Don't isolate yourself. Listen to people, talk with people, find ways where you can give yourself out, and go ahead. The next pillar, and one of the most important pillars of capacity building, is when we start looking outwards. So when we talked of, the past two pillars, it was mainly related to us being reactant. It was more of uh, us adapting to the environment. It was more of, when we talk of composure and calmness, it talks of more talking within us, dealing with things inside us. It is more of I talking to me. The next part and the next most important pillar is what we talk of communication. Oh, communication is not listening skills. Maybe I got the wrong slide, I think. Is it the wrong slide? No, Sagar bhai, it's not the wrong slide. It is the right slide. When we talk of communicating, the most important focus on communication is given to, yes, it is given to speak. I see a lot of resumes, and we have a lot of people saying, when we look at the resumes, it says uh, excellent communication skills. And when I look at that, when I meet the people, we come up with, what do you mean by excellent communication skills? And people talk of, I speak excellent English, or I can convince anybody, I can negotiate so well. Well, if you can speak well, be it any language, be it English, be it Hindi, Gujarati, or whatever language you are, speaking is a skill that is overvalued, and a skill that is really undervalued in communication process is listening. We forget that that's how God has made us, with one mouth and two ears, probably wanting us to listen more and speak less. So before we even go to the speaking skills, let me first take you to, when we talk of capacity building, there's a beautiful word that's going about greatly since the last decade and more, and that is called personality development. And when we talk of personality development, we always have a lot of focus giving on how to speak and, on your interpersonal skills with people, which is, of course, very, very important. I repeat, it is a very, very, very important skill, but there is another skill that needs to be valued even more. And that is, in communication skills, the first part that we all need to focus on is your listening skills. Remember, communication is about a give and a take. So, what do you mean by listening skills? A very quick acronym to help us understand. When you listen to people, and you listening is an art. And it is an art because it can be learned. It's a skill that can be learned. So when you listen, observe yourself. When you're listening to a conversation, observe how quick are you to interrupt. Observe, does it happen that when somebody is speaking, you are ready with your answer? Are you thinking of, what else you can add to the conversation? Are you thinking of how you can disagree with that and, you have another opinion? Or do you just shut off? Unfortunately, our education system has to a certain extent helped us to do that. I being a teacher myself, I do understand that, most of our classes in the past had been focused on, being very teacher centric, where the teacher speaks and the students listen. And that is how it has been. We have been trained for the past 12 years, but we have also, along with this, being trained to condition ourselves in such a way that we listen for the first 5 minutes and then we switch off. Does that happen to you? Yes, it does, right? Most of us, if we do not participate, if we are just supposed to focus on listening, we generally tend to switch off. If we don't switch off, it is only because हमारा दिमाग कहीं और चलता है. There is a parallel talk going on in our mind. So we may seem to listen, but we have one answer to give. How do I accept that? No, that's not right. I think I disagree on that. I want to add on to that, and so on. Or, oh, I hope the dress is ready, which I had given for stitching. So my face goes yes, like this, but I have so many thoughts going in my head. Does it happen to you? Or do you think when I leave college today, वो बाहर मिलेगी? Or आज पार्टी में क्या पहनना है पता नहीं है. Or for us adults, when we are listening, it happens. गैस चालू रह गया था क्या? या ओ शिट, वो ईमेल भेजना रह गया. And I'm still listening and talking. So if that happens to you, observe yourself. If that happens to you, you need to gear up. And how do you gear up? So use these 4 aspects of listening. The first is focus. When I say focus, we focus with our eyes. So you look at the person, you focus with your body. Okay, and you, when you're looking at the person, when you are facing the person, you are basically helping, and with your mind. So with your mind, with your eyes, and with your body, you focus on the other person, listening to him carefully or her carefully. A very, very important part of active listening. When you're listening, don't get zombied out, acknowledge. You can acknowledge with a nod or a smile or mm-hmm, uh-huh, yes. So we do that. As you acknowledge the other person and give the opposite person space to speak, you are actually listening for pointers, not thinking of what to answer back, but actually listening to what points the other person is making. The third part is when there is space in the conversation, you need to, when you need to repeat what the other person has said. So in short, it is saying you summarize. If you have just observed when I was talking to you in the past 1 hour, after every slide that I have talked, I have summarized the ideas, so it's more of a recap. And when you're in interaction with another person and somebody has been telling you something, say maybe talking about the um, a project that they're coming up with, or maybe the steps another person is taking up to set things right, or maybe some ideas on a new project, or simply just venting out about the feelings or the emotions they are going through related to a particular situation. Focus, acknowledge, and when there is a space for you to speak, do summarize. You do not need to say the whole thing, but the fact that you are able to summarize in your own words speaks a lot for your listening skills. This is the time when you can actually say, in short, I think what you are trying to say is, another way of summarizing is, oh, so are you trying to tell me that? Oh my God, did that really happen? Are you saying that? And these are different ways and sentences that you can use to summarize or repeat what the other person has said. Extract the gist and give it to the other person to know if you have rightly heard or rightly understood. Words and language are the strength of human beings. And yet, that skill, that talent, that ability is also responsible for the downfall of many a relation and many a being. If you hear the sentence spoken to you many times, be aware in your conversation, in your day to day interaction. If you hear people telling you, आप कभी सुनते ही नहीं हो, you never listen. Why don't you listen first? Read, I never meant to say that. You misunderstood me. No, I didn't say that. When did I say that? I think you should just listen better. Forget it, I don't want to talk to you. So if you keep on listening to these kind of sentences, be alert, become alert. This means that somewhere your FAS, somewhere you're making a mistake. So summarize. And after you summarize and you get an acknowledgement, because when you summarize, you're the speaker, you get an acknowledgement, that is the time when you actually start speaking or using your skills of language. Shall we proceed to the next slide? I will. Before we proceed, let me just give you one again. Okay, that's okay, Sagar Bhai. I'm okay with that. So we can shift it. Yes. So before we go to the speaking skills, remember your turn to speak comes later. Be able to step back and let the other person speak. Let the other members speak. Listening is a very unique quality, a quality that is very valued in people. And if you want to be a valuable member in your relation, in your social circle, learn to read, learn to listen. So, when we listen, we use focus, we use acknowledge, we use summarize. So, focus, acknowledge, and summarize. And last is you get an opportunity to talk. Talk as in extending on the conversation, talk as in giving your own ideas, talk as giving advice, suggestions, drawing a related idea, whatever you want to go ahead and take the conversation is, this is the time to speak. Now, I will not cover the topic of, how to take up a conversation in this aspect. But one topic that we definitely wanted to take up as a part of speaking skill is when you speak in a team or in a group, what is more important? Again, like I said, any group interaction, a very important skill is to listen. I heard someone say once, and let me just repeat what I heard. He said, "Mm, you know, we learn not when we speak, because when we speak, we only speak what we already know. It's only when we listen that we learn something more." And that's so true, isn't it? And that was one point of time where the importance of listening just kind of blinked up like a bulb. So, as we take up the speaking skills, let me again underline the importance in any group interaction or personal interaction of listening. And then we go to the next step of how do you enhance your speaking skills. Ma'am, spoken English की class करेंगे? Well, not exactly. Why not? Because yes, English or any other language is just a medium of communication. It is just the the means through reaching, the purpose of communication. That is to share ideas, that is to share your ideas, a give and take of ideas, and to take towards progress, to move towards a common goal. So, what do we remember when we talk of? Just give me a moment. So, what do we remember when we talk of speaking skills? Number one, when we open our mouth to discuss, any group conversation always begins with one aspect, and that is, of course, a discussion. So, is discussion bad? I've always heard the word there's a healthy discussion. A discussion where there's a give and take of ideas in a courteous manner, with respect, keeping in mind the respect of each and every opinion, is the only platform where a discussion should take place. Otherwise, any group dynamics which include discussion which go on a personal level are an absolute no no. Learn rather that when you are a part of conversation, so when we talk of discussion, we always have a rule that when you're in a discussion, your volume level should not increase more than 2, with 1 being whispering and 2 being a talking tone. The moment during a discussion we understand that our voices are our sounds, our voices escalate, that is the time to stop and step back. Ma'am, everybody shouting and I'll keep quiet, nobody's going to listen to me. That's so true. But anyway, nobody's listening. What's the whole point? If there is a discussion where everybody is speaking and nobody is listening, anyways, nothing is going to be achieved. So, a discussion, mind you, a healthy discussion is number one in a group dynamics, number one, where your tone does not escalate more than volume 2 is the tone that we talk. Then how do you manage to put your point across? Well, you do manage to put your point across by working on your voice, by working on the content that you want to speak, by working on the way you deliver what you speak. The moment we speak loudly, people generally shut off. Their listening systems shut off. But if I'm able to talk to you in a tone that is at this level, and if the opposite person has a volatile answer, I can still wait. I need to give space for emotional regulation. I need to give space to the other person to regulate and come to a normal tone. So, discussions which are healthy with the ground rule of courtesy, respecting every person's opinion, giving every person an opportunity to speak and present their opinion, present their ideas, present their views. In a courteous acknowledgement of all those ideas is done, probably documented, written, acknowledged, accepted to be an idea. Where I'm talking here, not talking of accepting and implementing any idea. I'm asking that a healthy discussion is one when you're in a group to accept all the ideas as another person's perspective. So acceptance of ideas during a discussion in a courteous manner at a proper volume is what is the first step in a speaking skill that most of us need to learn, most of us need to imbibe and get into ourselves. Also, a very valuable art, if you can develop in yourself, is to learn how to diffuse. It is bound to happen. I had one student saying, "Ma'am, आप कहते हैं चुप रहने का, आप कहते हैं धीरे बोलो, लेकिन everybody is shouting. Nobody is listening." Yeah, that's good. That's where your job comes in. As a part of a group discussion, as a part of a group interaction, as a part of a group dynamics, learn the art of being able to diffuse situations. Be the one who takes the responsibility of being able to diffuse any ups and downs in the situation, in the dynamics, and being able to help to regulate the tone of an interaction. That's a very important skill. Most people don't have it. So learn on how to work on that. Learn to use the language and the tone that helps you to help people feel acknowledged, accepted, and yet open to being different, open to having different opinions, because people come from different experiences. People come from different backgrounds. They have different experiences. They have different mindsets. It's definitely going to be it's a cauldron of different ideas and opinions coming together, but that's where growth is. That's where new ideas come. Now, as we are in a part of a group, as in a group interaction, like I said, working on any new idea, there is a discussion, there is a person, a skill we need to diffuse situations. So we are on the same platform, in the same emotional state of mind, where we are ready to give and take, learn, accept, as well as teach. Once you're in that situation, The third part, or the third step, comes in deleting. Deleting what? Deleting over a period of time in mutual consent any idea, any opinion that does not stand. This has to be done in a mutual manner. I can't say, hey, you got a crazy idea, get lost. That's a dumb idea. It's never going to work. Okay, so even if it's the craziest idea, there's a way to delete that idea. There's a way uh, to replace it with a better idea, to see logic in an idea, to present it. And that's where the person who's the skill of diffusing can pitch in to help delete or extract the ideas on a mutual consent that are not relevant, that may really not work. The next step when we are working in a group towards a common goal is to decide what actually works. We weeded out what was not needed, what is not relevant. After the entire discussion, collection of points, settling down of emotions, extracting the or weeding out the other the non-important or maybe the non-applicable ideas, we decide on what is actually applicable, what is actually going to make sense, what are we going to act, what are the ideas that we're going to work on together. As we do this, as we decide this, okay, there's another step that happens. Okay, so after you decide, there is again documentation. Jot down, note. Beautifully, somebody said, it is the written word that speaks more. And that's so true. And that is why documentation is a very, very important part when you're working, when you're talking in a group, when you're in a in a in a in a professional discussion, in a formal discussion, in a formal um, when the group dynamics are working towards one common professional goal, one common personal goal also. It is a good idea to document it. So first, discuss, diffuse if you can, delete the unnecessary uh, uh, ideas that are or the irrelevant ideas mutually. The key word here being mutual. For decide on what are the relevant and the important points that you deduce or that you extract from the entire conversation or the entire interaction. Next is document that. I think make a note of that for all. Last step again is delegate. Remember, we are not islands. That's what we decided in the first point itself. We all, those of us who feel मेरे से ज्यादा अच्छा नहीं कर सकता कोई, excuse me, that's where the downfall starts. That's where the biggest mistake happens. Open it for delegation. Let people choose what they want to do. Once decisions are taken, once plan of actions are taken, delegate responsibilities. You do this, A do this, B do this, C do this, D do this, E do this. Done. Job complete? No. The job is not complete at all. Because once you delegate, there is a very, very, very important part that follows. Does not end over here. There is again and majorly the documentation of who is given what work, who is taking the responsibility. Again, when we are talking, the word courtesy and mutual is very, very important to the entire speaking skills process, particularly when we are talking of group dynamics, whether it is your junior, whether you're talking to your seniors, whether you're talking to your colleagues, whether you're talking to your family members. It could be your kid, it could be your parent, it could be your boss, it could be your colleague, it could be your assistant, whoever, it could be your vendor, it could be your supplier, whoever, it could be to whom your customer, your client, whomsoever you are interacting with. In all these situations, these are all group interactions. In all these group interactions, wherever you want to take the conversation to, you have to follow these steps. And once you follow these steps, the situation doesn't get over here. You again document it. It's always a good idea to document what you have said and what has been decided upon, what has been delegated, who's taken the responsibility, because it is this paper which is a mutually agreed upon contract. I say a contract, which is a very big word, but when I say a contract, it just means that, when you write it down, people somehow, we feel more responsible, we feel more accountable for things. So document, particularly if you're in a professional environment. Okay, see that this document copy goes to everybody. Have deadlines, and after the documentation with the deadlines, whatever task is allotted towards going through your professional goals, the last step comes, document में तो खत्म हो गया. After documenting what? Well, there's a feedback. So the session doesn't just stop here. This is a cyclical process. So you have a documentation, and the next stage of your timeline, we again go back to the same process. When you meet again together, it is again discuss, diffuse, delete, decide, redelete, redecide, if required, redelegate, and document. A cyclical process of speaking that always happens during a group dynamic. And that happens only after documentation and a feedback happens on that. Like I said, if you're working in any organization, if you're working with any group of individuals, okay, this is a group interaction. The group dynamics requires a particular cyclical process of communication. The winner of any communication cycle, like I rightly said, is the person who has amazing listening skills. So work on it, develop your listening skills. Work on your listening skills as much as possible. Become a listening expert. Number 2, learn to use your skills to emotionally regulate, number 1, yourself. Number 2, this skill will help you to diffuse situations when you are in a group dynamic. It's a very, very, very rare quality, and it's much required. Right? So these are the 2 topmost skills when you're into this entire process. Like I said, when you discuss, diffuse, delete, decide, delegate, decide, document, delegate, and again document, this entire cyclical process is what leads you to your goal, to the goal achievement of a team or any group dynamic. I will just take you back to the next one, no, the one before. Okay. All right. Now, so when we talk of capacity building, the last pillar of communication skills is somehow always, like I said, more focused on. Not surprisingly, this is also the pillar that can be first, that is, can be addressed first, and that can be worked on the most easily. So I would always advise, when I have students coming, I would always suggest first work on your communication skills, because that is a process, a fast learning process. It's a process of just being aware, alert when you speak. The second important pillar that we talked about was accepting change, anticipating change, and the third was maintaining composure. So these 3 strong pillars, if we go, can we go back, Sagar Bhai, to the second slide, please? No, the second one, the next one, please. Yes. Okay, students. So I take you back after this entire talk of understanding and anticipating change, building your resilience, learning to manage stress, and emotionally regulate yourself, to the third part where you are going outside yourself, and that is building your communication skills or interpersonal skills. Three amazing qualities combined together, okay, ensure that you are an absolute success whatever field you are in. When I talk of capacity building, I talk of not only your or your professional uh, aspect of life. When I say capacity building, it is building yourself up, strengthening yourself to be not only a survivor but a victor in life's process. It could be at any stage. It could be on your social platforms. It could be on your social circle. It could be on your professional circles. It could be within yourself. It could be outside yourself. So, well, I hope that this session has been knowledgeable, and I hope this has helped you. Um, uh, if you have any questions, I'm always available for answers. Ma'am is always there. We can have questions if you can direct them to me if you want. And that is all I have to share with you today on this topic. Like I said, this is just the beginning and a small drop in the ocean. Each topic and each point has so much more to learn. And I hope I have just, it's like a rocket. हम दिवाली में जलाते हैं जो my job is just to put a spark over there, and your job is to just fly. The sky is the limit, right? So
Thank you, Sonia. You have always been the
thank you
best.
so much, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you
Maitri.
so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. I was just going through the comments, and people have appreciated it very much. So, yeah.
So much, ma'am.
And just like you said, along with the three pillars of capacity building, even gratitude, it helps people to feel more positive, and it also helps to bring strong relationships. So, may I please welcome Jyoti
Absolutely.
ma'am? Yeah, may I please welcome Jyoti ma'am to present vote of thanks?
Thank you, Mithri. On behalf of WDC and ICC, I would like to thank everyone who have extended their support for organization of series of three back-to-back webinars presented by Women Development Cell and Internal Complaint Committee, Gujarat University, in collaboration with National Commission of Women, New Delhi. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Vice Chancellor of Gujarat University, Professor Dr. Himanshu Pandya, for always being there for all our endeavors. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Dr. Jagdish Bhavsar for his constant motivation and support. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Registrar of Gujarat University, respected Dr. P.M. Patel, and university officers for extending full cooperation and support for all our activities. We all are born with certain capabilities and talents, but often these strengths remain buried within us. It is important that we realize our strengths and put them to full use. I would like to thank our today's distinguished speaker, Ms. Sonia Parekh, for such a motivating and informative session, and guiding our participants on how to retain composure and enhance communication skill so that we can bring out our true potential and utilize it to the best. Thank you, madam. I'm sure today our participants have many take homes from your session. I would like to thank Chairperson of WDC, Professor Dr. Archana Mankar, and Chairperson of ICC, Professor Dr. Bharti Pathak, for being instrumental behind all our activities. Thank you, Maitri, for conducting webinars so gracefully. A big thank you to GUSEC and the technical support team, especially Sagar Bhai, Jinali, and Vedehi, and our WDC ICC staff, Namrata and Jitendra Bhai, for their unflinching support. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants for their active participation in all our seminars. By showing interest in these seminars and participating in these seminars, you are on path of capacity building. So keep building capacity by participating in these seminars and utilize your potential to the fullest. We wish you all great success in years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, participants, for joining. We end our seminar here and see you again tomorrow and day after tomorrow for more such motivating sessions. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy.